We will now take a look at searching for specific character strings within fields. We use the statement search to do this, unsurprisingly, and it has a very simple form. So we can key in the word search. Then we enter the field we want to search. So in our case, let's use surname again, or surname2. And then we specify for, and then the actual search string itself. So let's say 1, 2, 3, and a full stop. Now this type of statement is a little different to the others in that we're not specifying a variable to hold any result. What actually happens with the search statement is two system variables are used. The first one, sy-subrc, which identifies whether the search was successful or not. Then the second system variable is sy-fdpos. And if the search was successful, this field is set to the position of the character string that we are searching for in surname2. I will go ahead and add some code that will hopefully explain this a little bit better, and we'll look at different variations that will introduce how these system variables can be used to determine the success of the individual search. So if we stick with our surname2 field, obviously we're not going to find a string of 1, 2, 3. So let's change this. And we'll say search for the literal string Joe. Now while I remember, because surname2 does get changed in the statements above, let's reset it right here. And we'll change the content so it's just Mr. Joe Smith. So our first search statement just looks for the word Joe, and it should be successful. So what we will do is start to create a small report section that shows us the values of the system variables. I'll just pause the recording to do this, and once complete we can step through it line by line. So first off, we're using the surname2 variable as before. I'm just writing out a line here to show the actual search string that we are using. And then we come to our first search statement. So this is search surname2 for, and we've got Joe with some spaces after in quotes. So what this is saying is we want to search for the word Joe, but the trailing spaces, with the way we're using search here, are going to be ignored. And then the output will show a literal string, so what we are searching for. And then we're going to output the system variables, sy-subrc, the actual value, then sy-fdpos, and the actual value. So in this case, we should get a subrc equal to 0, which means it was a successful search, and the position of the search string will show the position offset in accordance with where it appears within the surname2 field. Then the next one, we have a very similar search term, but this time the system will not ignore blank spaces. So the system will actually search for Joe with, I think it's 4 spaces after the letter E. And if we look at our surname2 field, there's only 1 space after the letter E. So it should return subrc equal 4, which means an unsuccessful search. And because it was unsuccessful, then the sy-fdpos value will be 0. Then the next search, this is using a wildcard. And the way we have the search defined here, it will search for any word within the string that ends with ITH. Now because we have Smith and it ends with ITH, it should be a successful search, and we should get the offset position in the FD-POS system variable. And the last example, it's another wildcard search, but this time we're going to be searching for any word starting with SMI. And the variable we are searching does contain the word Smith, so we should get a successful search. And again, the SYFD-POS system variable will be filled with the offset value relating to the position of the word. So let's run this test and we'll have a look at the output. It'll all become, and hopefully you'll be able to see exactly what I'm explaining, and you'll see the results in the SY fields. So we can see the search results. Here we're showing the actual search string. In the first search example, we can see it was a successful search because SY sub RC is set to 0 and the FD POS value is set to 3, which relates to the third character in our string. That's the offset. So the search term Joe would start one character after the offset value. And the next example, we were searching for Joe again, but we included spaces. And that's the surname to field did not contain enough spaces. It was a failed search, and the SY sub RC field is set to 4 to indicate that. And because it was failed, SY FD POS is set to 0. The third example with a wildcard search, where we're looking for any word ending in ITH, it was successful, and it's showing the word starts after the value 7 offset. So if we look at the search term, we can see the offset value number 7 is a space after the letter E of Joe, telling us that the next word in the string is what we were searching for. And the last example, very similar, but this is showing words starting with SMH. Exactly the same. Successful search indicated by sub RC equals 0, and the word Smith is the word that contains SMI, and again it's the same position starting one character after the position 7 offset. So that's 4 different variations of the search command, very useful throughout your programs when dealing with long character strings.